everyone, welcome back to Pabbly. In this video, we're going to learn how to create Zoho Books invoice on Paperform submission. So I'm an online course creator and using Paperforms, I have created a form with the help of which I collect the students' data who are interested in purchasing the courses that I'm selling. Here what I want is that as soon as many of the students, a new form submission is going to be done using Paperform and they're going to select the course that they are interested in purchasing. I want to create an invoice for that same student in my Zoho Books account with the course that they have selected that they are interested in purchasing. So if I'm going to do this manually, it will be very time consuming. So what I've done is I've simply automated this entire process with the help of Pabbly Connect, which is an amazing automation and integration software. And here in this automation, I'm going to build a connection between Paperform and Zoho Books with the help of it. So if you also want to learn about this amazing automation process step by step, for that, let me take you to my screen.
In this video, we're going to learn how to create Zoho Books invoice on Paperform submission. So as an online course creator, I use Paperform to collect registrations for my courses. On the other hand, I use Zoho Books to manage my finances, including invoicing, tracking payments, and keeping my account in order. The problem that I face is every time a student registers through Paperform, I need to manually create an invoice in my Zoho Books account. This process was not only time consuming but also prone to errors. So to solve this, I've automated this entire process. Now whenever a student submits a registration form on Paperform, an invoice is automatically created in my Zoho Books with the necessary details. This saves me time, reduces error, and ensures my invoicing process is seamless, allowing me to focus on creating valuable content for my students. And I'm going to create this amazing automation between Paperforms and Zoho Books with the help of Pabbly Connect. So on the screen, you can see the website of Pabbly Connect, that is pabbly.com/connect. After browsing this website, we need to sign into our Pabbly Connect account. But if you're a new user, you can sign up for free and get 100 free tasks every month. So as I'm an existing user, I'm going to sign into my Pabbly Connect account. After signing in, you can see the All Pabbly Apps window in front of you, in which you can see all the applications of Pabbly, from which we are going to select Pabbly Connect by click on this Access Now button. Then Pabbly Connect's dashboard is going to appear in front of you. In order to start an automation process in Pabbly Connect, we need to create a workflow. For that, click on this top right corner button right here that says Create Workflow. A dialog box is then going to appear in front of you, which is asking for the workflow name and for us to select a folder. So for the name of my workflow, I'm going to give it as Create Zoho Books Invoice on Paperform Submission. So this is the name that I want to give to my workflow, okay? After that, it is asking for us to select a folder. So on the left side of my screen, you can see I've created multiple folders in my Pabbly Connect account, from which I'm going to select a specific folder in which I want to save this workflow in. Further, click on this drop down. These are the folders from which I'm going to select Paperform Automations as the folder I want to save this workflow in. After giving the name to the workflow and selecting the folder, I'm going to click on this Create button in order to create a workflow. A workflow is created in the name of Create Zoho Books Invoice on Paperform Submissions, and there are two windows in front of you. One says Trigger, other says Action. So what is Trigger and Action? Trigger and action are the two most important steps of our automation process because our process depends on these two concepts. Over here, trigger says when this happens and action says do this. That means that action, what is it? It's a response towards our trigger. In an automation process, there can be only one trigger step but multiple action steps. We are going to set up our trigger step first. And for the trigger application, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it as Paperform. Paperform is an easy to use online form builder that allows us to create beautiful and functional forms without needing of any coding skills. It's more than just a form tool that lets us design forms but look at like landing pages complete with text, images, and custom brandings. And I have created a course enrollment form with the help of Paperform, with the help of which I collect the data of my students and their registrations. Okay. So here what I want is that as soon as a new form submission is going to be done by the student using Paperform, automatically Pabbly Connect should capture the response of that. That is why for my trigger, I'm going to select it as Paperform. And for my trigger event, I'm going to select as new form submission. Okay, after selecting the trigger application and the event, we need to connect our Paperform account to Pabbly Connect. For doing that, Pabbly Connect has provided us with a webhook URL. With the help of this unique webhook URL, we're going to build a connection between Paperform and Pabbly Connect by following the steps given here below in the help desk. So what I'm going to do is, as I've already copied the URL from here, I'm going to open the form that I want to connect to Pabbly Connect. So this is the form that I've created using Paperforms in the name of Course Enrollment Form. And I want to connect this form to Pabbly Connect. For connecting this form to Pabbly Connect, over here in the panel, go to this After Submissions button right here. As you go to land towards after submissions, from the drop down, go to integrations and webhooks right here. If I'm going to further scroll on, it says webhooks. I'm going to click on it and it says over here add webhook. I'm going to click on this button right here. It is asking for the URL. For that, I'm going to paste the webhook URL right here in this field. Okay. It is asking for the trigger on. I'm going to select as new submission as I want to capture the response of the new submission in this webhook URL. Okay. And then I'm going to click on this create button right here. As I've done that, the webhook URL is now been successfully added to my Paperforms form that I've created. As the URL is added, I'm going to go back to my workflow over here and scroll down. You can see it is saying waiting for webhook response. So now to check whether Paperform is now connected to Pabbly Connect or not, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the test form submission of this form that I've created using Paperform, and after doing the test submission, I'm going to check whether Pabbly Connect captures the response of the test submission being done or not. Okay. So now for doing the test submission, this is the form that I've created. Over here it says share. I'm going to click on it. This is the URL of this form. I'm going to copy it from here and paste it right over here in a new tab. As I've done that, this is the form that I've created, and now I'm going to do the test submission with the help of this form. It is the course enrollment form. Okay. It is asking for the first name. So the first name of my student over here, I'm going to write it as Smart. For the last name over here, I'm going to write it as Test45. For the email over here, I'm going to write it as smarttest45@pabblytudes.com. And for the phone number over here, I'm going to write in a dummy mobile number. Okay. After that, for the course over here, we have to select the course that we are interested in purchasing, that my student is interested in purchasing. For that, I'm going to click on this drop down. These are the multiple courses from which I'm going to select this Mastering Digital Marketing course right here. Okay. With this course, this is the price of the course as well right here. Okay. After filling in all the required details, I'm going to click on the submit button to do the test submission. It says, thanks, we have received a submission. The submission has now been successfully done using Paperform. As now the submission is successfully done, I'm going to go back to my workflow and scroll down. And yes, you can see right over here, Pabbly Connect has captured the response of the new submission being done using Paperforms. Let us tally the response. We have received the submission ID. You can see right over here, this is the form ID. If I'm going to further scroll down, you can see the value, that is the course, is selected as Mastering Digital Marketing as 499 rupees. I'm going to further scroll down. This is the phone number of my student. You can see right over here. This is the email, that is smarttest45@pabblytudes.com. The first name over here is Smart. The last name is Test45 with all the other details. As the response has now been successfully captured over here in the trigger, this means that Paperforms is now connected to Pabbly Connect and our trigger setup is done. Now, whenever by any of the students, a new form submission is going to be done using Paperform, automatically in the similar manner, Pabbly Connect is going to capture the response of that. Now, as the trigger setup is done, we need to set up our action step. Here, my objective is to create an invoice in my Zoho Books account from Paperform submissions. So for that, we're going to set up our action step. And for the action application over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it as Zoho Books. Zoho Books is an online accounting software designed to help businesses to manage their finances with ease. It allows us to create and send professional invoices, track expenses, manage inventory, and bank transactions all in one place. And using Zoho Books, I manage the finances of my business, in which I create invoices for my students as they're going to purchase the different courses or register themselves into the different courses that I am selling. Okay. Here, I want to create an invoice whenever a form submission is going to be done by the student using Paperform. Now, for doing that, we're going to set up our action step, in which I'm going to select my action application as Zoho Books. And for the action event over here, I'm going to select it as Create Sales Invoice, as we want to create an invoice in our Zoho Books account. Okay. Then I'm going to click on this Connect button. A window is going to appear in front of you, on which click on Add New Connection, or else you can select the existing connection that you have. After that, click on Connect with Zoho Books. As I'm going to do that, it is asking for the domain name. To have the domain of your account, these are the multiple domains that you can have. To check whether which is your account's domain, for that, open your Zoho Books account. This is my Zoho Books account, and in the URL, you can see next to books. This is the domain, that is zoho.in of my account. So I'm going to copy this domain from here and enter it right over here. And then I'm going to click on this Save button. As I've done that, it is asking for the permission, in which I'm going to click on this Accept button. As the save process, my data is perfectly saved with Pabbly Connect. So I'm going to click on this Accept button right here. As I've done that, you can see I've successfully authorized Zoho Books to Pabbly Connect. After authorizing, it is asking for the organization in which we want to create the invoices, and I have single organization with the name of Pabbly. So I'm going to select this organization right over here. Okay. After that, it is asking for the customer. Select the customer for which you want to create the invoice in. I want to create an invoice for the person who have done the form submission using Paperforms. Now that person is not a customer in my Zoho Books account. So before creating the invoice, we have to create the person who have done the form submission using Paperform as a customer in our Zoho Books account. For that, we're going to add another action step in this workflow. And for the action application over here, I'm going to again select it as Zoho Books, as now I'm going to create a new customer in my Zoho Books account. Okay. And for the action event, I'm going to select as create contact. As we are going to create the contact, the customer is going to be created in our Zoho Books. So I'm going to select this action event right here. And then I'm going to click on this connect button. A window is going to appear in front of you on which I'm going to select the existing connection. If you want, you can add a new connection that you want to. Okay. After that, I'm going to click on the save button right here. As I've done that, you can see Zoho Books is now connected to Pabbly Connect. Okay. Over here, it is asking for the organization. I'm going to select as Pabbly's right here. This is the organization name that I have. After that, it is asking for the contact type. I want to create the contact as a customer. As over here, it is asking for the customer ID in my response right over here. So that is why over here, I'm going to create a new customer with this contact. Okay. After that, it is asking for the customer subtype. I'm going to select as individual right here. For the language code is English. So I'm going to select the language code as EN, that is English. It is asking for is portable. I'm going to select as false right here. Okay. It is asking for the currency ID. The currency that we are dealing is in Indian rupees. So I'm going to select the currency ID as Indian rupee. Okay. After that, it is asking for the payment terms and all the details, which I do not require. So I'm going to skip the part. It is asking for the contact name. Now for the data of this field, what we are going to do is we're going to map the data. What is mapping? Mapping means inserting data from the previous step. So we're going to insert the data from the previous step of this workflow. How mapping works is that as soon as I'm going to click on this field, you can see it says Paperform new form submission. This was the previous step. As I'm going to click on it, this was the same response that was captured in our previous step. It is asking for the contact's name, the customer's name that we're creating in our Zoho Books account. As I want to create this person, I've done the form submission using Paperform as a customer in my Zoho Books account. So for the data of this field, I'm going to select the data from my previous response right here. I have received the name of my customer, first name, space. I'm going to map the data of the last name. As I selected data from my previous response, you can see the data is mapped. And as I mapped the data has now become dynamic. That means whenever a new response is now going to be captured in our previous step, automatically the new data is going to be updated in place of this mapped data. Next, it is asking for the company name, website, which I do not require, so I'm going to skip the part. For the name of the customer, where it's asking for the first name, so I'm going to map the data of the first name right over here, that is right here. For the last name, I'm going to map the data of the last name that I've received. This is right over here. For the email, I'm going to map the data of the email that I've received right here. I'm going to map it. For the phone number, I'm going to map the data of the phone number right here. This is the phone number. I'm going to map the data right here. After that, it is asking for all these details, which I do not require. So I'm going to just simply skip the part right here. After that, over here, it is asking for is taxable. I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply toggle this map button on and remove this existing data from here. Okay. After that, it is asking for all these details, which I do not require. So I'm going to skip the part and then I'm going to click on the save and send test request button. As I've done that, you can see over here, it says the contact has been added. So now I'm going to my Zoho Books account. So this is my Zoho Books account. And to check the customer's data, I'm going to go to this customer section right here. As I've come to this section, you can see a new customer has been created in the name of TestSmart45. I'm going to open it. The customer is in the name of TestSmart45. You can see right over the email as testsmart45@pabblytudes.com with a mobile number. You can see right over here. Okay. As you can see now, the customer has been now successfully created in my Zoho Books account. Now what I want is, as the customer is created, for this customer, I want to create the invoices. For that, we're going to completely set up this step right over of creating sales invoices in our Zoho Books account. As now the customer is created, over here in place of this field of customer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to toggle this map button on and erase this ID from here. Now in place of this customer ID, I'm going to map the data of the customer ID that we have created in our previous step right here. I'm going to map this ID right over here. Okay. After that, it is asking for the contact person ID, which I do not require. So I'm going to skip the part. I'm going to skip all these details, which I do not require right here. Okay. I'm going to further scroll down. It is asking for the exchange rate. For the exchange rate over here, I'm going to write it as 1. Okay. I'm going to further scroll down. It is asking for the item name. For the item name, I'm going to map the data of the course that was selected by my student in my form submission. So I'm going to select the data of that item name right here. Okay. Next, it is asking for the item rate. Now the item rate is already mentioned in the item name right over here. So now we're going to fetch this item rate from here. For doing that, we're going to add another action step in this workflow. And for the action application over here, I'm going to select it as text formatter by Pabbly with the help of this amazing feature by Pabbly Connect. we can format the text according to our requirement. And for the action event over here, I'm going to select it as text parser. Okay, then I'm going to click on this connect button. With the help of this action event, we are going to fetch out the data of the rate of our course from the name. Okay, it is asking for the text. Which text do we want to fetch the data out of? For that, I'm going to map the data of the course name that I've received. That is right here. Okay, I want to take this price out of this place. It is asking for the text match after. I want the text after this bracket right over here. So for the text after over here, I'm going to enter the curve bracket, opening curve bracket right over here. I want the data after this bracket right here. And okay, for the before, I want the data before this other bracket. So I'm going to enter the closing bracket right here. Okay. After entering the before and after with the text right over here, I'm going to click on the save and send test request button. As I'm going to do that, you can see I've received the price of our product that was selected by our customer. So now what I'm going to do is, as I've received the price, I'm going to further scroll down, and over for the line item rate, I'm going to map the data of the rate that I've received right here in the response. Okay, so this is the rate. It is asking for the quantity. As the customer is purchasing the course using Paperform, over here the quantity is going to be only one. So I'm going to select as one right here. Okay. After that, it's asking for the discount, which I do not have, so I'm going to skip the part. It is asking for the line item tax ID. I don't have the tax ID, so I'm going to remove it. For that, I'm going to toggle this map button on and remove this existing data from here, okay? After that, it is asking for the product type and all the details, which I do not require, so I'm going to skip the part. I'm going to further scroll down over here. I do not require all these fields, so I'm going to skip the part, and then simply I'm going to click on the save and send test request button right here. As I've done that over here, it says the invoice has been created. So this is a positive response. And I'm going to my Zoho Books account. This is my Zoho Books account. I'm going to go to this invoices section right here. And you can see a new invoice has been created in my Zoho Books account. For Smart Test 45, you can see right over here. And this is the invoice that has been created for Mastering Digital Marketing. This is the price. You can see right over the quantity is 1. The rate is 499 and the amount comes over here as 499. As the invoice has now been successfully created in my Zoho Books account from the Paperform submission, this means that we successfully created an automation between Paperforms and Zoho Books with the help of Pabbly Connect. So now to tell what we have done, over here in my trigger, I've selected as Paperform and New Form Submission. As by any of the students who are interested in purchasing the courses that I'm selling, they're going to do the New Form Submission using Paperform. Automatically, the trigger Pabbly Connect is going to capture the response of that. As the response is going to be captured, the student who have done the form submission using Paperform is firstly going to be created as a contact, that is a customer in our Zoho Books account. And as the student is going to be created as a contact, automatically for that contact, that customer, an invoice is going to be generated in my Zoho Books account according to the course that they've selected while doing the form submission using Paperform. Okay. And for that, I've created this amazing automation between all of these applications with the help of Pabbly Connect. So this was it for this video. Thank you so much for watching.
Not just with these applications, you can create automation between multiple other applications with the help of Pabbly Connect. If you have any questions, you can contact us on support@pabbly.com. If you have any queries, you can check the queries on forum.pabbly.com. And if you have any pricing related issues, then you can check out this link. If you like this video, please do subscribe to our channel, hit on the like button, comment on if you have any questions or doubts, and please share this video.